you write that the Bible is filled with people who get or got a fresh start. A few here that you mentioned: Moses got a fresh start, Rahab,
right,
fresh start, David,
right,
Ruth,
right,
Peter and Paul.
yeah.
When you're writing the book, or as you've been forming this book with your life through the years, is there any particular biblical character who got a fresh start that you identified with and said, I'm just like him or I'm just like her?
Well, I'm an awful lot like Peter. You know, my mouth can get me in a lot of trouble. And he was, you know, he had great qualities, but many times your greatest gift can also be your greatest downfall if you're not careful. And so I've got a bold, aggressive personality. That's good for what I'm doing, but then many times in the past, it's gotten me in trouble because I would maybe get into things I should have stayed out of. I always say that I'll run my business, and if you don't mind, I'll run yours too. So I have to be careful I don't get into stuff.
It's a gift, right?
Yeah, it's a gift that I don't need to get into. And so Peter was very aggressive in saying things. Several times what he said would get him in trouble. He had a tendency, like we all do, I think, to think a little more highly of himself than he should have. He thought, well, I would never deny you, not me. I would never do that. And actually, he had some failures, but they were divine failures. There were things that really helped him to understand himself. And how great is it, the new start, the new beginning, the you can begin again that Christ gave him. And I especially love to make a point out of the fact that after the resurrection, Jesus said, go tell my disciples and Peter that he is risen.
That emphasis.
Peter was the only one that he mentioned specifically. So when you think about it, what did that say to Peter, who had denied Christ 3 times? Right. How must he have been feeling at that point? I wonder how many people there are that have lived as Christians and then for whatever reason they've turned their back on God, fallen back into sin, and how many of them, maybe even watching right now, have been in a trap of thinking, well, God would never take me back, or I've done too much that's wrong.
Or may have heard some preaching that way that scared them. And they, from their childhood, they think they can never get right with God.
And so they need to know that it's never too late to begin again. And God really is the master of fresh starts.